Welcome to Open Up Relationships. Before we continue, make sure you subscribe to this channel. We regularly upload high-quality videos. You can like this video to support the channel. r/surviving infidelity. Caught my wife cheating with another married man. I thought my wife of 8 years was cheating. She had joined a tennis club and would leave every wed night to go play. Said she was meeting female friends for it. We had one child, and someone had to stay, so for the most part I let her have this time. I became increasingly disturbed that she might be cheating, just a nagging doubt. I asked a friend about it, in behalf of someone else, and he gave me the name of a counselor. This guy was good, and gave me 10 questions to ask my wife, and how and when to ask them, and to do it in the order they were listed. Not use them as a questionnaire, they required a little setup. Each one had textbook guilty answers, and textbook innocent answers. It said to accept only her first answer, and not to ever try the question again. Interesting rules, but I decided to play. If she was cheating, it was a big mind game already. We were in a quiet moment, and I asked the first question. Silence. The instruction said to expect silence, but to count the seconds so as not to be tempted to interrupt with "Did you hear me?" or other. Let the silence hang, and it did, for 27 seconds. Try sometime to watch a clock for 27 seconds, to get a feel for how long it is when asking a question like this. She answered, "Why are you asking?" which was a textbook guilty answer. Instructions say I can use one of the follow-up questions, but not answer any of hers. If she presses, simply say, it was a simple yes or no question. Yes or no. It also said that, if she asks any questions like this in return, answer in the negative, without qualifying it. Not no, because blah blah, because the conversation will derail to the blah blah. Once you say no, ask her the very same question. Anything other than a yes or no is still your answer. Bottom line, she failed every question, and I recorded every answer. I took notes on them, and discussed them with the counselor. All of them. He was stunned. I still had doubts. He gave me another set. She failed all those too. She was failing with the textbook failure responses, not even remotely creative about it. The following Wednesday I took our son out, after she left, and we went to the tennis club together. I told him we were going to watch Mom play. He said he didn't want to go, so I left him at grandmother's house. By the time I got to the club, they were in full force playing on 5 courts, with some members sitting in theater-style bleachers. My wife came off the court, and sat with her female friends. Moments later, all of them fluttered off to the courts and left her alone. A tall man came off the courts, walked to where she was seated, and bent to kiss her, and she reciprocated. Now I'm glad I don't have our son with me. That's when I noticed, however, that she wasn't wearing her rings. She was attending this tennis club, and presenting herself as single. She and the lover went onto the court and played against each other. I went down to her bags, looked through and found the rings in a Ziploc baggie, and took them with me. By this time, I had the presence of mind to turn on my phone's camera and get video. They came off the court and kissed, sat down and kissed, and were generally affectionate toward one another. They kissed passionately before they parted. I thought I would retch right there in my chair. I sat in the shadows of the seating, this was all at night, and waited for them to leave. She left first. He left second, and I followed him out. I followed his car at a distance until he pulled into his driveway, and took note of the address. By the time I was at the end of the street, I realized I could easily find out who he was. In our state, the property appraisals are public and online. When I got home, I looked up the address, and learned his name, and that he was married. My wife told me she'd been cleaning her rings at her mom's house, and must have left them there. She was frantic about them all week. She yelled at her mom for losing them. I think her mom was covering for her, or she was talking to a phone with nobody on the other end. The following wet evening I waited for her to leave, before getting in the car and going to the lover's house. I had the phone ready to go. When his wife opened the door, I hit play. The blood ran from her face. I thought she was going to faint flat. She called to what sounded like her daughter, and closed the door behind her. "Let's go," she said. "Okay, let's go." We went to the tennis club and sat in the back. My wife and her husband were on the court. This woman was teary-eyed, and I wasn't sure at all about her state of mind. When the two came off the court, they shared their affections and sat together, all lovey-dovey. This guy's wife whimpered. Her stomach was heaving. I had the same feelings, but not so intense. She patted me on the elbow and trotted down to the lovers. I didn't want to reveal myself, so I entered the row behind them while his wife entered the row in front of them. They were kissing, and in another world. When they pulled apart, he turned and the first thing he sees is his wife staring back at him. He says, "What are you doing here?" And she says, "I was about to ask you the same question, but it's answered." She jumps over the seat back, grabs his tennis racket and strikes him across the face. He snaps backward in the chair. I think she's going to hit him again, but she doesn't. She hits my wife. At this point, instinct betrayed me. I had the option to stop the carnage, but I didn't. I have many regrets about it. Instead, I grabbed the lover around the neck and held him in the chair. He was skinny and I'm a little more muscular, and the awkward position kept him from escaping. I lost count how many times she hit my wife before my wife stumbled away screaming, guarding herself while other members grabbed the other wife and held her back. I ran out and drove home, thinking she was going there. She called me from the emergency room before I got home, so I went straight there. She was a bloody mess. She said she'd been attacked by a mugger and say what. She didn't know I was sitting behind them and holding her lover down. I told her I was glad she was safe. The doctors fixed her up. Scar on her scalp but nothing permanently visible. 3 fingers broken on each hand defending herself. I finally got her to the house around midnight. I wasn't sure if she would file charges on me. How was I supposed to know this woman would go full contact on her? Still, it was only a matter of time before all this came out. To start the conversation, I held out the Ziploc bag with her earrings. She said she'd been looking for them. Where did I find them? I told her. Her face went blank for a moment as she tried to understand. Then I told her the rest. She looked away from me, numb. Is that why you didn't stop her? I told her frankly I wished it was me doing the hitting. Glad she was doing the dirty work for me. I shouldn't have said that. But it was what I was feeling at the time. Each time that woman hit my wife, I wanted her to hit her again. And again. Just nuts. Within 3 months we were divorced. The other man's wife divorced him and took the lion's share of everything they had. During this time, she called me and apologized for her behavior. Something had clicked in her head, and she lost it. She thought she had it together, but seeing them kissing just made her flip. r/surviving infidelity. Life was awesome. Don't know why I suffered this much of pain. On September 18, 2016, I had some heated argument with my wife because she didn't allow me to take my daughter to my parents, so I left alone to my parents. My mother-in-law and brother-in-law were staying with us. This was not the first time we had a fight over such issue. Before marriage she thought I am from a super rich family, but when she came to know that I am from middle-class family she started arguments after 1 month of our marriage. However, her parents were separated for the past 18 years, and they were living in hand-to-mouth situation. After so much effort I had reconciled with my wife, and asked her to meet me in a shopping mall at Gurugram, a city in India. When she came, I was very happy, after catching a glimpse of her after 2 months. I asked her for some shopping for her and daughter. She picked up some clothes, and went to change. It was a sleeveless deep neck dress. That time I noticed love bites all over her neck and shoulder. I didn't say anything, but that night I didn't sleep. After a few months I gifted her a new mobile, and took her old one. After a couple of days, I was trying to change the mobile software version. I took backup, and checked the data. All of a sudden I saw a few semi-nude photos in chat which she had shared with one of her school friends. The next morning when she was getting ready for office, I politely asked her if she has shared her photo with someone. When I was not around, she clearly said no and shouted that I have a sick mind. I put the mobile in front of her with those pics, and she was stunned. For 2 days she asked me to forgive and forget this all, and swear to God and our daughter for not committing such things in the future. Slowly I tried to overcome and succeed. It was November 2018. I remember the exact date. She was so worried for some time, for a month or maybe a little more. I picked her from her office and went for dinner. When we reached home, after the shower I changed and relaxed in the drawing room. After 20 minutes my daughter came and asked about her mother. Since I had no idea, I started to find her. She was seated in her mother's washroom and talking to someone. That was devastating. I felt like I had given her second bullet when she had missed the first one. I politely called her name, and when she came out, I asked her for mobile. She didn't refuse, and I checked the call log and WhatsApp chat. Everything cleared. No call log, no text message, nothing. Then with some tricks, I got the last dialed number. It was her colleague who is a divorcee. I tried to talk to her, but she continuously refused. For a few weeks I didn't talk, and finally one day I went to her office to talk, but she denied to come out, and told me that she has a conference call, and can't come out. I asked her to put the phone on speaker, but she refused. I left the place, and when I reached home, she was already there, and didn't open the door. Instead she threw out my clothes, and other stuff from the balcony, and said, "I will teach you a lesson." Her mother and brother were standing with her and laughing. After 3 months she filed fake dowry and harassment complaints in women's cell. In India there is law for such complaints which initially handled by women police. I requested her to reconcile this, but she told a fake story to everyone. All her relatives thought that I am an alcoholic and did wrong with her. She gave an application to daughter's school so that I don't meet and ask her about her mother's activity. It's been 4 months I didn't meet my daughter. In this tough time my parents supported me. My close friends helped me a lot to overcome. Police called my parents, brothers and myself every day, and asked many questions regarding dowry and harassment. Actually they live in another city. I did marry my wife in a temple, and it was a simple marriage without any dowry. Her mother was separated, and didn't have any source of income. With the help of my friend, I hired a detective and tried to find the truth. I can't tell you how devastating it was when that detective shared pics and video. She was visiting that guy thrice a week and spending the entire day. Apart from this guy there were 2 more people whom she was dating. I have all the photos and videos that detective shared with me. In 2017 I bought a new car, some gold jewelry and new dresses for her, but in the police station, she told a different story. As per her statement, I didn't spend a single penny on her. We are from different caste. She is Punjabi Sharma, and I am from Nainital. When I met her the first time she was struggling for a job, even I helped her to get a job. She told me once that she sold her car for day-to-day groceries before marriage. Her mother was heart patient. I spent enough money on her mother's treatment, did everything at the time of surgery, and in return, I got the fake case, police torture, and so much pain. Finally, divorce and child custody have been filed with the local court, but God knows when I will get justice. Someone said, "What goes around comes around." Even I do believe, but in my wife's case I don't trust it fully. This is my advice to everyone who is facing such situation. Always trust your intuition, because it never lies. If your partner is cheating on you, think 100 times before giving him or her a second chance. Not everyone changes. Your parents are your true well-wisher. Apart from them, everyone loves you for their need. Once their need ends, so does their love. Secretly invest for yourself, because that money will save you in your worst time. Time doesn't stop for anyone, so don't wait for a good time or person. Just enjoy every day like Mr. Bean. Today 28th Jul'19. I am writing about life after 8 months of separation. I am much stronger than ever before. I have filed 2 cases. One is adultery divorce and another one for child custody. During these 8 months' time, I did whatever I wished for. I have joined dance classes, gym, and guitar classes. Sometimes I feel very bad for myself. I really don't deserve this all. Still miss my ex and my beautiful daughter, but don't know why I have suffered this all. Now I am asking you all, what should I do now? What was my mistake? I never hurt anyone in my entire life, always helped others. In August, I met with an accident. Due to critical situation, 2 major surgeries were done. Can't walk due to broken bone, but the superwoman, so-called feminist, has filed another case for maintenance and demanding 100k INR every month.